Hey True Believers, Englentine here with another batch of reviews. This time around we're going to be talking about Hickman's X-Men and something I had just thought about, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. But anyway, we'll get to that. Going to look into the Joker number 10, which continues the 1970s series, as well as William the Last, The Shadow of the Castle. I believe that was what it was called. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, so kick back, relax, and here we go. X-Men number 1. So if you saw my Powers of X and House of X, are they really that bad and good? You know that I'm not a big fan of this. I like the plot, I like the ideas surrounding it, but something had been off. Something really kept me from enjoying this book to the fullest, and finally I think I've nailed it. Finally I think I put my finger on it, and this book just kind of cemented it. You remember how they were trying to make the Inhumans the new X-Men? And everybody's like, no, I don't like that because I want the Inhumans to be the Inhumans and the X-Men to be the X-Men. And, you know, let's keep the peas and carrots separate. Turns out that the X-Men are now the Inhumans. The history of the Inhumans have them being attacked, and they leave Earth, and they set up their own colony. They set up their own hierarchy. They set up their own government. And they're basically supremacists. They believe that they themselves lord over all that is, and they are better than humanity. And this is now the new X-Men. This is everything that they've been stating and saying in the comic. This is what they now have as their mission statement. They're the next evolution of humanity. They're not here to help. They're not here to really improve. They're just waiting out until humanity dies out, or mutant kind just completely takes over. And in all honesty, they're pretty much willing to out and out say it. And it just occurred to me that, wow, instead of making the Inhumans the X-Men like Perlmutter wanted to, they just decided to go on ahead and make the X-Men exactly like the Inhumans. And that's what we got now. And by the way, the book is boring. Talking about the individual book, it starts off with a scene where they're saving some kids, some mutant children, but afterwards they're like, come to Krakoa, you are here now, you are home now. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, what about their parents? Were they taken from their parents? Did their parents give them up? We don't know. And in all honesty, neither do they. Yet that not once was there any kind of talk about, well, we got to return them to their families. We've got to make sure they're okay, that their families are okay, that they're united. None of the children are like, hey, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Why aren't they here? None are questioning it. They don't even show it, like it would never even be a question. And that's just one more way that I think that they're not letting the X-Men act like the X-Men. It's not the same characters that we got to know. Definitely not during the Claremont run. Maybe since Grant Morrison took over in the early 2000s, this has been the X-Men. They're a lot more gritty now. They're more of a paramilitary thing. Sure, that would lead to isolationists. It would lead to kidnapping children. I mean, granted, they saved them, but if you're not returning them to their parents, you're not much different than the people you took them from. You're still using them for your own purposes. And I could understand if they returned them and some of the parents were like, no, get that monster away from me. Then we would gain sympathy and we would be shown that the X-Men are actually doing really good work. But the way they did it and the way they went about it, it doesn't sit well. It really doesn't. And I got to say, I'm thinking things are off. Maybe another shoe will drop. I have no idea. But as it stands, I don't like the way the X-Men are going. I don't like this new direction. And individually, this comic book was slow and dull, and it just didn't make any sense for the characters the X-Men should be. William the Last, Shadows of the Crown, now on the X-Men. I broke my start with the cover rule, and, well, the cover isn't good. The one that I had, anyway. William the Last, Shadows of the Crown. Okay, it shows him, he's on a mountain, there's an ascension he's got to obtain. It's okay, the art is iffy at best on this one, though, so while I think it does what it's supposed to, I still don't think it's exactly a great cover. The story, on the other hand, is exactly that as well. You get this story so far, I'm like, wait a second, this is the first issue. So this tells me there's more to it, And it really feels that way. You really feel like you're jumping right on into the middle of a story already. It's already in progress, and there's no catch up. I got to tell you that much. If you don't know what's going on, you're going to have to pick it up as you go, because there's no, hey, you remember this part and you remember this part, except for the story so far. So narratively, nothing's going to help you out here, and I think that's detrimental ultimately to the story, because this is very much one of those books. I think it's trying to be bone, because it has, in some areas, very sparse dialogue. It relies heavily on the art, which unfortunately it shouldn't. The story is not strong enough to be the next Jeff Smith's Bone, but I think that's what they're going for. I'm hoping this improves, because it's actually not all that bad. It is a middle-of-the-road kind of comic, but I do believe there's potential here for the epic story that they want to tell. I just hope that they know exactly where they're going and how to get there. One of the big problems, I guess, is it does seem like there's scenes missing, and maybe that's because it really asks you to catch up to them. It asks you to already know what's going on in order to, I mean, right here you've got a wizard. He's like, oh no, and like you're supposed to know exactly what that armor is for him to be resurrected, and once he's resurrected, it's supposed to be this big deal, and you're like, bum 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 moment, and this is supposed to make you feel that, okay, now everybody's in trouble. But unfortunately it doesn't work. It really does feel like there's pieces and parts of the story missing here. Once again, like I said, there's a lot of potential here. Unfortunately, it's just not getting realized. I don't know if they know how to expand on it or to bring it back. First of all, I would definitely put a little bit more narrative into the actual pages rather than the story so far and write it out in text, but that's just me. I'm a different breed of cat. And finally, from DC Comics, we have the Joker number 10, and this is an awesome cover. You're not going to convince me otherwise. This is straight out of the 70s, man. Seriously, love it, and it is a success as much as the actual issue is. This reads like one of those great comics of the past. This is one of my favorite books in a long time. And that's mainly because of the melodrama. It's mainly because they really are writing a 1970s comic. I don't know where this came from. Like I said, I don't, before in other videos and live streams, I do not read previews because I hate spoilers. I just hate them. So a lot of times books sneak up on me. I know people are, well, I've read the previews and this is coming up and I'm very excited. What do you think of that? No, I don't read the previews. This, on the other hand, holy Hannah and her sisters, it's straight out of the 70s. Look at the art. It's incredible. Elton John is the devil. How can you not love a comic book that pits Elton John as the devil? It's just tons of fun. And yes, he has a ridiculous escape. He kills the Justice League, and yes, he kills the Justice League, according to this comic book, rather easily as well. It's just tons of fun, and that's why that's how it's supposed to be approached. If you are going into this book and you look at it with a way that a lot of YouTubers scrutinize everything, as I said once, in order to have a drama channel, there can be no good news. Any announcement, everything, it's going to be bad. This is going to suck. That's going to suck. If you're coming in like that, you know what? This is going to suck. But if you're coming in, you're thinking, you know what? This has got a great feeling of the past. You're going to enjoy it. A lot of people even say, well, I want this comic book to, I want comic books to be like they used to be. This is like they used to be. This is absolutely like they used to be. And it is so cool for it. Tons of fun. Classic DC Comics. I don't think, though, Green Arrow here is using trick arrows, and I think that's a bit of a loss because at this point he still was. It wasn't until Longbow Hunters that he gave them up and everything. So, but still, you know what? That's neither here nor there. You could tell by the art if that's going to be your cup of tea. You could tell by my enthusiasm. that I just enjoy the heck out of this. I love the nostalgic feel of it. I enjoyed the Joker series from the 1970s. Of course, I always thought that they should let him go, but the Comics Code wouldn't allow that. So at the end of every issue, he ended up in prison. Yeah, what you gonna do? This one, however, he doesn't. Welcome to the Joker, modern day. Really, think you should check this one out. But those are my opinions. What are yours? Have you read the X-Men? Have you read William Crown? I forget what it was called. That's exactly the kind of book it is. It's a really forgettable book. I wish it wasn't, though. Independent comics have been doing so well for so long, all the ones that I picked out to read for reviews. And then I get this one. Okay, here it is. William the Last Crown of Shadows. Oh, well, que sera. The big winner is the Joker this week. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure that it's on all so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts, and I'd hate for you to miss it. Now, this is the way I'm trying to make a living. YouTube's making it really hard to do so I got a Patreon page. I got a Ko-Fi page. You can go on over. There's a tip jar, so if you just want to say, hey, you know what, good job, man. Here's $1 or $2. I certainly appreciate it. But if you want to consign a video as well, you could actually say, hey, man, put this on Old Man Comics, and I'll make sure that it's on this channel. As a matter of fact, I've got one coming up for Sandman, and I really appreciate everybody who's already done that and everything and who's helped out. And to everyone, all of the true believers, everybody who loves this hobby and everything, thank you very, very much for watching.